Here now with more is founder of TMZ, Harvey Levin, is with us. Harvey, my friend, wish I saw you under better circumstances. Let's talk a little bit what you learned as this was going on in real time while you're doing the show.
Well, I kind of need to back this up to Tuesday when we received what looked like a ransom letter. And so we called the sheriff's department in Pima, and they took the information. There was something in that letter that caught my eye at the end where they mentioned both, now I can say it because the FBI said it, an Apple Watch and a damaged floodlight. What I found interesting, because we knew she wore an Apple Watch, there are pictures of her with Savannah with that watch, but they mentioned where the watch was, the placement of the watch in the house. And that's not something that was out there. So I had a long talk with the sheriff's department. A couple hours later, the FBI called, and they wanted a lot of information. So when I said there are two deadlines, yes, there is one that changes the demand, and that's the one that that has already passed. And the one on Monday is far more consequential.
Well, I want to go back to that word consequential, because what you said on your show, something is supposed to change if they don't pay the money by the first deadline, quote, but the second deadline is much more important. And now you're saying much more consequential. Look, I'm not going to ask you to disclose anything you can't disclose, but it sounds dire. It sounds like the urgency to find her, time is certainly of the essence. Number one, for medication, her age, her health, and it sounds like there's a greater threat behind this.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're reading it right. I will say the letter begins, and again, we're not sure that this is really written by the person who asked Nancy, but I will say the letter begins by saying she is safe but scared, and they go on to say she knows exactly what the demand is. And so they are, through us telling the family, and obviously the sheriff's department gave the family the letter we received, exactly what they're demanding, and they're saying that Nancy is aware of it. They are also saying, Sean, and I find this, pretty interesting when you look at what happened today, they're saying that this will be their only communication. And they are done communicating, negotiating, here's the deal, and that's it. And, as the clock ticks, I think that's one of the reasons the FBI and other authorities have, gotten desperate here, because as far as we can tell, it's impossible to trace the origin of this email. And I will say that there are real reasons based on what's written there that I believe that this person is in the radius of the Tucson area. And there's something very specific in there, and I'm sure the FBI keyed in on this a while ago. And it makes me think that whoever did this, if whoever wrote this letter is in that Tucson area. And I think it's one of the reasons, too, that they sent the same email to one of the local stations in Tucson. This person is familiar with the Tucson television market, and based on the way it's written, I believe that this is somebody in that wide Tucson area, not in Tucson, could be in New Mexico. They could be in New Mexico now, but they are definitely familiar with Tucson.
All right, it's interesting because both you and Nancy Grace, both old friends of mine, both have the same theory that it's a local person. When you first read this, and as you examine this, and as you talk to law enforcement, you have great instincts, Harvey. I mean, you've been a success for decades on television. You kind of have a nose for what's true and not true. Does your gut tell you this is very real to you, that this is a ransom, a kidnapping ransom?
Well, look, I don't know for sure. I felt that when I called the sheriff and told them about these two items, that would be a telltale thing. That if those items or something in the description match something that we don't know, that the public didn't know, then it gives credence to it. And again, I got a call from the FBI a few hours later, and they were very interested. They were on the phone with my IT team. As far as I know, and my IT team has been hard at work on this, and I know the feds have. I don't think they're going to be able to figure out where this email originated from. I know the Bitcoin address is real. So what I will say is this, that this is not a letter that was thrown together in a couple of minutes. It is a very specific, well-organized, layered letter that really lays things out. This is not AI. You know, if an English teacher were to look at the structure and the grammar and everything else, I think they would have no notes. So this is somebody, it's not a crazy person who's writing this. I mean, they may be crazy, but they have the capacity to make demands, say what they want, say what they don't want, and it's very, very structured.
So the family has now reached out twice publicly, and it is your strong belief, and you've seen the letter, you got the first copy that I know of. It's your strong belief that, in fact, this will be their only means of communication. You don't believe they'll be responding to Savannah or her brother?
Well, look, Sean, that's what they say in the letter. You know, there's a substantial demand here. And what the Guthries have said is they want proof of life. And just saying in the letter she's okay but scared doesn't prove life. And so I don't know what's going to happen. You know, will whoever, if this letter is legitimate, will this person have a change of heart and try and send something? I don't know. But the way it's written, they say this is it. It's the only communication, and the police aren't going to be able to help you. They're that bold saying that. So as far as I know, the police don't have a lot of clues here, because that's one of the reasons they were so open today at the news conference and provided more details. But I will tell you, and I think this is, you know, I just cannot overstate my gut here. And it's more than my gut. There is a phrase in this email that absolutely makes me believe this person who wrote this, and if they're telling the truth, that Nancy is within a radius of the Tucson area, not in Tucson right now, but in a radius. It could be New Mexico. I don't know how far, but I think at least what the authorities have is they've got a radius, and that's something.
Yeah, I mean, think back to the Elizabeth Smart case, right? Harvey Levin, we really appreciate you taking time to be with us. Thank you for sharing all that. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.